Good morning, everyone. Jeff and I just landed here in Wewak, Papua New Guinea, the Kodiak behind me. We're heading out to a place called Sino, an hour flight, where we're gonna be taking a drum of fuel for their lawnmower and picking up one passenger. Jeff is just taking out some seats right this minute, so we have room to be able to roll the drum of fuel up. So let's go ahead and go throw the drum of fuel in. And still waiting on the fuel guy. He'll be here in, I don't know. Fuel guy just got back, actually in 10 minutes. I'm amazed. He went downtown to refill his truck up, which is a common occurrence. But he's back. We're gonna fuel up and hopefully get out of here within the next 15 minutes. Jeff's got this all tied down. We have the wood, if you're wondering, it's just to protect our seat rails. These are actually built into the airframe, so if these get damaged and have to be replaced, it's pretty much tear apart the whole airplane. We've got it tied down with big straps as well as ropes. It's just a 55-minute flight out to Sino today. I've taken you guys, I think out there before. I know I've flown from there out back here to Wewak a couple of times, but actually going out there, I actually don't know. It's out in the upper Sepik, very jungly airstrip, and you can't see it until you're about a mile or less from it. It's just sunk down in the jungle.
Moresby 126.7, November Tango Echo taxi.
November Tango Echo Moresby, go ahead.
November Tango Echo taxi, Wewak, Sino, 2 POB.
November Tango Echo, no reported traffic.
No reported traffic, November Tango Echo, thanks. All stations, Wewak, Kodiak, November Tango Echo, departing runway 28 to the west on climb 12000. All stations, Wewak. Alright, ignition, prop, condition. 20, seatbelts and fuel. At our weight, we'll see, but I think I can outclimb the clouds out there in front of us. 1540 and 60 for rotation. Alright, gauges are green, airspeed is alive. New and rotate.
Put myself on mute so he doesn't have to listen to me, but he's just climbing out around 85 knots. Once we're over 85, once we're over 300 feet, then we're allowed to start, according to our SOPs, start taking our flaps out. Once we've got our flaps cleaned up, he's going to go ahead and pull his prop up back. I don't have my extra camera here because one of my mounts broke this morning. But we're bringing our ITT back to 720 for our climb out of here.
Moresby 126.7, November Tango Echo departure.
Looks like he found a hole through here. That works.
November Tango Echo Moresby, go ahead.
November Tango Echo departed, Wewak, time 43, tracking 255, on climb 12000, estimate overhead Arcasame at 16.
November Tango Echo, everything is 120, no reported traffic, overhead 6598.
Secondary 65908, November Tango Echo.
Well, I thought on this flight out here, because it's kind of a long, boring flight, and the weather's pretty nice out today, so there's really not going to be a lot going on. I thought I would actually cover a couple things on our PFD, our primary flight display, which is what this screen is, and this is the MFD, the multi-function display. But I'm just going to go through, if you're not familiar with G1000s, I'm just going to quickly run through what every section of this actually is, so that if you're a flight simmer, you can maybe start following along in yourself and start flying some G1000 airplanes. And if you actually want to fly the Kodiak, I have a course down below that walks you through all of the procedures and things that we do. If you're a flight simmer and you want to learn how to fly it exactly like we do. So anyway, just starting up here at the top, it's just your nav 1 and nav 2. If like you're going to be tuning into a VOR or something, or an ILS or something. We really don't have any of that here in Papua New Guinea. We have one ILS, like 2 VORs if they're working. So pretty much everything here is GPS. Coming across, we have Wewak to AYAV. That's just our next reporting point, Arcasame. distance is 54 miles to that specific location and 30 minutes to get to that one. So once we get past that, our reporting point, it will flip and it will actually change to the actual destination. Coming over here, that's our comms. So the green one is the one that's active. You can hit this button here. Let me see if I can see what, yep, all right. You can hit this button here and you can switch it back and forth. Down this green line right here, AP, that's autopilot, we're on heading mode. And the nav, GPS steer is selected, that's why it's white, but it's not active, that's why it's not green. So once we actually connect up with this magenta line here, the heading will go away and the nav will actually turn green and then GPS steer. Coming over here, it says both on ADC 1, air data computer 1, so that my numbers, my airspeed and everything is reading exactly what Jeff's is reading. We're going up to 12,000, passing 7,600, and we're climbing at 1,050 feet per minute. The QNH, or the altimeter setting here, is what we use is QNH. It's going to be 1009er. And then this side over here is the tape. That's what these are called. This is our airspeed tape. And like getting used to using these type of things rather than the steam gauges, it might take a tiny bit to get used to it, but then after you've used this, like this is so much easier than steam gauges because everything is right in one area with so much information. It looks like a lot at first, but the more you use it and you've trained your eyes, muscle memory to look exactly where you want, this is so much nicer. Our ground speed down here, 114 knots with a true airspeed of 121 knots. And then the wind is showing we have 7 knots of headwind with 1 knot of crosswind. And then it kind of breaks it also down right here. Outside air temperature is 16 degrees, so about 60, 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Down here, it also breaks down. We can set up if we want it to show GPS, and then this one down here is on our nav too. So whatever we have up here, we'll show down here. This is just our heading, a heading of 255. And then down here is this little box, whatever these ones you have here, we'll bring up a box here. So if we hit timer reference down here, that's what we use for our VREF or our approach speed, approach speed, and then also our rotate speed. You can hit the nearest button, and it brings up a few airports in Papua New Guinea, not all of them, because a lot of the airports that we fly to are actually not like registered to where it actually shows up as an actual airport. They're just locations. No, they have an ICAO code. And then the alerts, it'll pop up a little white box right here to let us know if there's an alert. Our inset is this little tiny box down here, and we can actually set up if we want traffic, topo, terrain, and storm scope showing up on that. I have everything. You can also hit declutter and clear it all out. Our sensors is our air data computers, so I'm running it off of his air data computer so that, like I said, all of our numbers are showing the exact same thing so that I'm not yelling at him going, why is your speed off, when he's looking at something different, you know? PFD, that basically allows us to set up different things here. We can turn it on and off our synthetic vision. You can see we've got like hills and stuff showing. When I came here, I thought, oh, that's gonna be the coolest thing ever. Honestly, you don't even notice it. You notice it when your TAWS goes away and all that terrain goes away. Reality is we don't actually use the synthetic vision as part of flying. It's just we use minimum safe altitudes. If we are going to go IMC into the clouds, we use specific altitudes on specific tracks. This wind, you can change out how you want your wind to actually show you where it's coming from. Our bearings, that's what changes these, and bearing 2 and then HSI as well. The altitude unit, we can change that back to inches. So if we hit inches, it looks like 28.80 is the same as 1009er. And standard baro, we're going up here in this country. If we are going over 20,000 feet, that's where we hit standard baro. But if you're going to Australia, it's at 10,000 feet. So different countries, and then the States is 18,000. So it's just a little bit different everywhere you go. But anyways, that's a really quick, brief overview of primary flight display. And like I said, if you're interested in knowing more about this or how to shoot approaches in this plane, check that link out down below. I don't know if I've ever been out to Sino with you, and as long as our ITT is below 700 degrees Celsius, then we're good. It really comes to be when we get over 13,000 that we're now limited by our ITT of 700. and then our torque will slowly go down the higher that we go up because the air is thinner. All right, we've got 15 minutes left, or 16 minutes left to go. Looks like we've got some low-lying clouds, just like the forecast was saying. I think just on the other side of these is when it's actually going to clear up, right before we get to Cessna. Just a couple of miles probably is what I'm thinking. At least that's what the forecast was showing, or at least what the satellite picture was showing. I'm going to go over the strip chart real quick with you guys. Right, so Cessna, elevation 100 feet, runway 660 meters long, and it's flat. It's a jungle airstrip, two-way airstrip. We can land both ways, but landing on runway 15, there's some trees right at the end which just make it difficult to get down without using up at least a third of your runway. Whereas 3-3, we can come in over the lake really low. And last time, I think Jeff was out here last week, he said, with another one of our Czech pilots, and the grass was long. Hence the reason why we're bringing out fuel for their lawnmower. So we'll see once we get out here, but we're planning on landing on runway 33 unless the winds are just massively different than what we're expecting. But usually out here in the jungles, like especially because we're close to the equator, the winds are just pretty negligible. As you can see, we've actually got a glide slope here, and all these little magenta boxes are actually going down at a specific angle. So you can't really see here because I don't have this camera on, but it says our vertical speed required to get to where we want to is 920 feet. So right now we're just a tiny bit below what it is because we're going down at 965 feet per minute instead of 920, but we just can't fine tune it, so he'll just have to keep adjusting it back and forth until we can get to exactly where we want it to. You can see on this little inset here, that little cyan arc, that's showing that we're going to get to our desired altitude of 1,100 feet right on top of it. We're just about 22 miles out to go. We've got one hole right here in front of us. I think that's what Jeff is considering going down in. Other than that, it looks like it's an 8/8 overcast. I can't really see, maybe a tiny bit of hole over here. It looks like maybe kind of scattered and stuff. It's hard to tell when you're kind of at the same level. So we'll see what Jeff does to get ourselves in here. Hopefully we don't have to get up there and then have to come all the way back here, but I think we'll be able to find some potential holes to get down through this layer.
Yours doing okay?
Yep, they're doing good.
Do a little chop and drop here. We might have a little moisture there.
A little bit. Alright, so it looks like he's electing just to chop and drop to get all the way down underneath here. It looks like some of the clouds are, I don't know, 300 feet off the ground maybe, which is pretty typical for this area. Going down at 3,300 feet per minute to get down underneath here. And we've got about 2,000 feet before we're to pattern altitude. So looks like he's going to have definitely a lot of work to get himself up there, but we've got another 14 miles to run. It's beautiful out here though. It's crazy, there's a couple houses right down below us. It's unreal where these people live sometimes.
I'm seeing lots of space on the other side there.
Right, we're just now nearly approaching into our circuit altitude. Probably I would have gone maybe a different way just because now we're kind of coming into rising terrain and that's where there's just going to be a lot more clouds, but we're also directly over the river and that's usually clear over the river, but it looks like it's clearing out nicely out here for him, which is good for both of us because I don't want to come all the way out here and turn all the way back. I've had to do that a number of times.
Station Ceno on 126.7 November Tango Echo is 900 miles to the east, 1,200 estimating circuit time.
Vertical track.
36. All station Ceno. Actually, it looks like the grass got cut maybe from the last time we were here.
That's what I was just saying. It does look like it's been cut.
I know it was a lot thicker and darker and greener last time we were here. Windsock's not doing us much good, but I'm not seeing a lot of wind.
All right.
So I think
500.
Oh, it does 68. 4 knots of headwind. 600 on the descent rate. $700.
Really nice.
659 November Tango Echo on the ground. Sino, cancel SAR.
Tango Echo, Sino, so terminated.
November Tango Echo, thanks.